Have you ever really thought about where words come from? In this explainer, we're basically going on a linguistic ghost hunt. We're searching for a lost ancient language that was never written down, but is somehow the ancestor to how literally billions of us talk today, all the way from India to Ireland.
Okay, so let me start by throwing a little puzzle your way. Think about a simple word, like father, or a number, like 3. Now, what if I told you that people in completely different parts of the world who haven't had contact for thousands of years use words for those same things that sound almost identical? I mean, is that just a wild coincidence? Or is there something much, much deeper going on?
And here's the proof, laid out right in front of you. Look at English father, Latin pater, and the ancient Sanskrit pitru, or brother, frater, and bratru. Come on, the similarity is just too consistent to be random chance. These related words, which linguists call cognates, are like little linguistic fossils, and they all point back to one single common ancestor.
So, right, if it's not a coincidence, what in the world is it? This very question puzzled scholars for ages, until one guy, one brilliant mind, had a breakthrough that completely changed our understanding of language history.
This right here, this is the aha moment. Picture it. It's 1786, and a British judge in India named Sir William Jones is studying Sanskrit. He is absolutely floored when he realizes how similar its grammar and vocabulary are to classical Latin and Greek, and his conclusion, what you see here, was revolutionary. He basically said, look, there's no way this happened by accident. These languages must have come from some common source, even if that source language is long gone. Just like that, he'd stumbled upon a lost family.
And that common source now has a name. We call it Proto-Indo-European, or PI for short. Now, here's the really important part to get your head around. PI is a reconstructed language. No one's ever found a PI book or a stone tablet with PI writing on it. It was spoken so long ago, way before writing was common, that it just vanished. Or so it seemed.
So you're probably thinking, okay, wait a second. No books, no inscriptions, no physical evidence at all? How on earth could we possibly know anything about it? I mean, how do you rebuild a language from thin air? Well, it turns out historical linguists developed some seriously clever tools to do exactly that.
Their main tool is something called the comparative method. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like linguistic forensics. You're a detective showing up to a crime scene that's 6,000 years old. The only clues you have are the modern languages, and you have to use them to figure out what happened in the deep past.
It pretty much boils down to 3 key steps. First, you collect huge lists of those related words, the cognates, like the father words we just saw. Second, and this is crucial, you find predictable patterns in how sounds changed between the languages. We call these sound laws. And third, this is the magic part. Once you know the rules for how the sounds changed, you can just reverse them. You're basically winding back the clock to hear the original word.
Okay, I know sound law sounds a bit academic, so let's use a real example. This is so cool. Linguists notice that where you see a P sound in Latin, you almost always see an F sound in Germanic languages, like English. So Latin pater becomes our father, piscis becomes fish, pedis becomes foot. You see the pattern? Once you've got a consistent rule like that, you can confidently say the original PIE word probably had a P sound too.
Now imagine applying that same logic, that same detective work, over and over again for dozens of sound laws and thousands upon thousands of words. When you do that, something amazing happens. A whole vocabulary starts to emerge from the mist. And you're not just rebuilding words, you're actually resurrecting the entire world of the people who spoke them.
And this, for me, is where the real adventure begins. Because every single word we can reconstruct is like an archaeological artifact. It's a real clue that tells us something tangible about the lives, the beliefs, and the technology of these ancient Proto-Indo-European people.
All right, let's look at some of these artifacts. Take this word, which we reconstruct as H3 regs, and by the way, that little star in front just means, hey, this is our best guess. This word was never actually written down. Its descendants give us words we know, like the Latin rex for king, or the Indian araja.
The meaning is clear, king or ruler, but think about what that implies. The very existence of this word tells us that these people had moved beyond simple little tribes. They had complex societies with leaders and social structures. A single word tells us about a political revolution.
Or what about this one? Well, neha. This is a rock-solid reconstruction because we find clear relatives of it in a ton of ancient languages. Hittite, Greek, Latin, you name it.
It means wool.
So what? Well, that's huge. It means they didn't just have any sheep, they had sheep that were specifically domesticated and bred for their fleece, and they knew how to weave it into textiles. That's a major technological and economic leap forward.
And the clues just keep coming. Look at the word medu. This one also pops up all across the language family, from ancient India to Ireland. It means mead, that alcoholic drink made from honey. So now we're getting a glimpse into their culture. You can just picture them, thousands of years ago, gathering for rituals or celebrations, sharing stories, and drinking mead. This word gives us a little window into their social life.
And the list just goes on and on. We can reconstruct doru, meaning tree or wood, so we know they were builders. We find flukus, the wolf, so we know what dangers they faced. We can rebuild acharthrom, the plow, which tells us they were farmers. We even have deivos, their word for god or sky god, which is the direct ancestor of our words divine and deity, and even the name of the Greek god Zeus.
So, from this one starting point, this language and the people who spoke it spread out across this enormous area. And as different groups moved apart and lost contact, their way of speaking slowly drifted, branching off like a giant tree. One branch became the Italic languages, like Latin, which then gave us Spanish and French. Another branch became Germanic, which is where English comes from. And other branches grew into the Slavic, Celtic, and even the indo-Iranian languages spoken in Iran and India today.
Okay, so we've rebuilt their words, we've caught a glimpse of their world, but that leads us to the biggest, most fought-over question in the entire field. If these people were real, where did they actually live? Where was the Proto-Indo-European homeland?
Right now, there are two leading theories. The first is called the steppe hypothesis. It suggests that Paiute was spoken around 4000 BC on the huge grassy plains of what is now Ukraine and southern Russia. And the big piece of evidence for this? The Paiute language has words for wheels, axles, and horses, technology that was pioneered by the people of the steppe. The other main theory is the Anatolian hypothesis. This one places the homeland way earlier, maybe around 7000 BC, in what is now Turkey, and suggests the language spread slowly and peacefully into Europe along with the invention of farming.
And let me tell you, the debate is far from over. This is a live investigation. Every year, new evidence from genetics and archaeology adds another twist to the story. The search for this homeland is one of the great scientific detective stories of our time, and it's still unfolding.
But no matter where they lived, here's the most important thing to take away from all this. The words we use every single day, they aren't just tools. They are living artifacts. They carry the echoes of a lost world inside their very sounds. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets about our most distant ancestors are hiding right there, in plain sight, in the simple, everyday words we use without even thinking about it?